Hello and welcome to 7 Minutes of Inspiration with Seven. You're watching me, Latasha Guy. You're either catching me on my Facebook, YouTube, or you're catching snippets on my Instagram. It is a pleasure to be able to join you on today. You are watching Hope on a Hump Day. This is my new series. On last week, we discussed levels and layers. This week, we have a new topic. Again, it is a blessing to be able to join you, staying committed to the mission of Hope on a Hump Day. You can also visit my YouTube. I am under seven with seven on YouTube, and I'll post the link as well. So I'm gonna jump right into today's thoughts. This week is brought to you. The topic is boundaries, and so I began to start vlogging on this afternoon. And literally, this was not the topic that I had, and it completely shifted because there were some things that I was dealing with that I needed to deal with. And unfortunately, sometimes when I'm dealing with certain things and it continues to hit me really hard, I'm sure that I'm not alone. So I'm going to refer to my notes because I did vlog it as well as write it out, and I just want to make sure I stick to the script. And so, I said to myself, how often do we have those conversations with ourselves, with others, on how we need to create some boundaries? Once again, we have found that our calendars are beginning to get filled up constantly with events. I just remember speaking maybe a couple weeks ago, and I was like, pretty much all of July is booked. And now I'm starting to notice that dates in August are beginning to get booked. And I'm sure September, I've already got a couple things in the books already. And so we're noticing that our books are beginning to be filled again. And so we're now fighting back some of those things that we were trying to create boundaries with. We had more time for, and so we're fighting for boundaries in our physical space. We're fighting for boundaries in our mental space. We're fighting for boundaries even in our personal space. So physical, mental, and space. So I wanted to elaborate on those particular boundaries here on today. So sometimes when you go through some of these things and you're fighting the boundaries, you become overwhelmed, and we're itching for space. At times, I found myself crying out like, I just need some peace and quiet. I need some peace and quiet throughout the day. Sometimes someone can be at home with me. Sometimes they may not. As you can see, the door just opened, so I'm never home alone. But I'm always fighting for just that space, that moment of quietness. And I used to sometimes get that when I would be in the office because I didn't work in a demanding environment that required a lot of noise. And I was always fortunate I could listen to music throughout the day to take my mind to another place. And sometimes that's not always an option at home. And so, people are fighting with that personal space. They're trying to work in the environment in which they live. For a lot of people, there's kids at home. For some of us, spouses are at home. Older people are at home. People are just leaving at different times because everyone's not working at the same time. And so just trying to find that quiet space for yourself at times can be challenging, and it can become overwhelming. I'm not always nice when I say I need space too. And so I'm going to be honest. God is working on me to not snap when I've just said and said and said and said. Also, I wanted to make note of boundaries when it comes to physical space. Has also became extremely challenging. Again, like I said, over the last few months, people are returning, they're longing to return to normal just for the sheer time alone, whether it's that ride home in the car, going to new places, trying new things to eat, making new connections. Those are always great to take you to another place. But again, just like our physical boundaries are important, so are our mental boundaries. And sometimes we push ourselves to the point of mental exhaustion. So we have no clue when to rest. Trust me, I'm a prime candidate. I never know when to say no. I never know when to stop. I've said it on here before. Sometimes I just desire to be a productive citizen of, the United States of America, do my job, go home, rest, watch TV. I hear people talk about shows. Sometimes I'm like, when do you even have time to watch a show? Because I feel like there's just never that moment. And so just even having to tell myself sometimes you have to learn to rest. You don't have to feel guilty about it. There's times when it's just okay to disconnect. Because we don't want to compromise our sanity. And then last but not least is our personal space. And although what works for one may not work for the other, we have to realize, just like I spoke about on last week, the dynamics of the different relationships that we have. I have those people that I can talk to every day. I have those people that we can do our weekly check-ins. I also have those ones that I may not talk to as often. But even in not talking to them as often, I realize the dynamic of our relationship. And because I realize the dynamic of our relationship, there is no expectation for me to have to talk to them constantly, for us to go out and do things often. Expectations when it comes to social activities. When there's an expectation, there's just certain things, certain environments that you don't desire to go to. People will respect your boundaries and not ask you to go. People will respect your boundaries and find things that you like to do. And so, we have to even be condescending of that, even in our personal space, making sure that we're creating those boundaries, we're setting those boundaries of what it is that we do like to do and those things that we don't want to be a part of. It can get tricky. And again, like I said, it does work different for everybody, but you want to make sure the dynamics of what you're dealing with works for your relationship. And then again, I just wanted to wrap up because see, I promised myself this week I would stick with 7 minutes. One of the most dangerous things we can do, honestly, guys, is identify who we are, know who we are, know what you believe in and what you want and where you want to go and not be going after it. Creating boundaries will help you to get there because you know how much time you're working with, you know how much space and capacity of what you can hold, and you stick to it. You stick to it, realizing that sometimes you may have to moderate the accommodations. Some things will take precedence over others. You'll have to create priorities. But creating those boundaries will give you a guide to truly operate in the gifts, those things that you're truly purpose and why you're here. Because the last thing you want to do is be wasting a lot of time just having fun, just showing up, just going places, no purpose, no plan. Allowing your time to be taken advantage of. Allowing your mental space to become overwhelmed. It's literally time that we really make ourselves first, make ourselves a priority. Wake up each morning being grateful with an expectation that the day is going to be great, that great things are coming your way. Speaking into existence, believe it. Realize that action is the key to success. So, we can't just talk about it. We've got to do it. You have to tighten up in some areas of your life. Honestly, you'll have to tighten up. And the reason you're tightening up because, what you're being groomed for, you have no idea. You don't know where you're going, the things that you're going to need, the tools that you're going to need to build, how you're going to need to strategize and maximize your time. And there is no better time than now. It has been a pleasure to join you on this week. This has been your Hope on a Hump Day. Don't forget to check me out on YouTube. Again, I am listed under 7 with 7. I'll share the link. And I hope that everyone has an amazing rest of their week. Be blessed.